And frankly, look, the people there are cheering for losing in the Republican Party.
They're kidnapped individuals.
I've said it before. I think you have to be honest with the American people.
The GOP had another debate last night that I guarantee nobody watched, but somebody finally said the thing that I've been saying for a very long time. Vivek, thanks for probably watching the show. Chaos erupts in the streets. Hunter Biden subpoenaed by the Oversight Committee, and a lot more coming up on this episode of Daily Caller Live. Thanks so much for tuning in. My name is Jobob. Daily Caller Live starts right now.
2, 1.
Here we go!
That might be the only brown guy on earth named Jobob.
That is actually their name, Jobob.
Live from the dingier of the dingiest bunkers, completely cut off from the outside world, except for you fine folks. My name is Jobob. This is Daily Caller Live. Thanks so much for tuning in on today. It is Thursday, November 9th, year of our Lord 2023. So there was a debate last night, and we're all kind of figuring why, I think. Why are they having another debate? Trump is clearly the nominee. I think they're doing it, the candidates, I mean, as some sort of like, in case some cataclysmic event befalls the guy who's currently in the lead, who knows? But there was a debate last night, which again, I don't know if anybody watched. Seriously, I don't know who would watch it, but I took in some of the clips from afterward, and despite my total apathetic outlook towards the debate, especially towards the Republicans debating, especially with the way the polls are now. Despite that, there were a couple things that I thought were important. The first thing was this: effing finally, somebody said the thing that I've been saying for however long I've been doing this. It was 3 years or something like that, almost. Almost 3 years doing this, whatever it is that I'm doing. Somebody freaking finally asked the question to the Republican hierarchy, establishment, whatever you want to call them. Why are we doing debates like this? I don't know. I'm a pretty big, let's screw the whole debate format in and of itself. But even outside of that, if we're going to keep the debate format, why do conservatives allow liberals to ask them questions from the liberal point of view? And then when they don't answer the question with a progressive mindset, they get blasted for it. Why does that happen? I talked about this in the first Republican debate where the kid from YAF asked the question of like, what do we think about climate change? They're like, we don't. Like, again, I'm a person that loves the environment. I love being outdoors. I want to protect the environment as much as humanly possible. And also, I understand that there are bigger and more important things to be talking about. So on the list of the totem pole of the hierarchy of things that Republicans care about, climate change is down there. Why then are we allowing somebody to ask a question from the leftist progressive point of climate change is clearly terrible? Was the joke that somebody had said. So they said, the kid asked the question, I'm going to die in 2 weeks from climate change. And then the question, the Fox Business panel was like, all right, who wants to kill the kid? Show of hands. And you have to participate in that. But finally, I'll stop rambling here. But finally, Vivek, who I have some issues with, but finally he said the thing that I've been saying for a very long time. Watch this.
I mean, since Ronna McDaniel took over as chairwoman of the RNC in 2017, we have lost 2018, 2020, 2022, no red wave that never came. We got trounced last night in 2023. And I think that we have to have accountability in our party. For that matter, Ron, if you want to come on stage tonight, you want to look the GOP voters in the eye and tell them you resign, I will yield my time to you. And frankly, look, the people there cheering for losing in the Republican Party.
All right, that's not what I was talking about. That was just a lead up to it. Here's what he's talking about. Here's the thing that I was like, yes, finally.
Think about who's moderating this debate. This should be Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, and Elon Musk. We'd have 10 times the viewership, asking questions that GOP primary voters actually care about and bringing more people into our party. You think the Democrats, and we've got Kristen Welker here, do you think the Democrats would actually hire Greg Gutfeld to host a Democratic debate? They wouldn't do it. No. And so the fact of the matter is, I mean, Kristen, I'm going to use this time because this is actually about you in the media and the corrupt media establishment. Ask you, the Trump-Russia collusion hoax that you pushed on this network for years, was that real or was that Hillary Clinton made up disinformation? Answer the question. Go.
Mr. Roberts.
Sorry.
This is how we get our country back. We need accountability because this media rigged the 2016 election. They rigged the 2020 election with the Hunter Biden laptop story.
Mr. Ramaswamy,
and they're going to rig this election.
Your time is up.
Accountability.
Let me turn to
That's
Governor Christie. Why you?
Yeah. You know, you can think what you want about Vivek. I think I agree with him on a lot of stuff. I think he's more of a salesman than he is really anything else. But having said that, I do like the fact that he's a business executive vying for the executive position of the United States. Is he going to win the nomination? No, absolutely not. But he's saying some pretty important things. I've been asking this, and I get not to reiterate what I said at the beginning. Why does the Republican Party agree to do this? I don't know. And he asked the question point blank. What do we gain by allowing progressives to ask questions from a progressive point of view who pushed misinformation and disinformation on their media platforms for the last 7 years, even before that? Why do we let them dictate how the conversation goes? I don't know. And Vivek doesn't know. And finally, somebody freaking said it and said, what was it? Elon Musk, Joe Rogan, and Tucker Carlson should be moderating the debate. Yeah, you know how many viewers that would get? You know how many more questions that actual conservatives would care about would get asked? The entirety of it. Yeah, it's wild. This is where most of America is. This comment right here, Jim. Appreciate you watching, Jim. Thanks for watching. Says I haven't watched a single debate. True. Yeah. Why? Why would you? Most people aren't watching this, and probably one of the reasons, Jim, I would imagine, is because of stuff like this. Why would you watch it? I would guess that more right-leaning people would watch a debate if they knew that it was going to be held in a way that would actually benefit the causes and the policies of conservative America. I'd be more likely to watch it. I didn't watch this. Why would I? But I'll tell you what, if Tucker Carlson was hosting it, or not even Tucker, if I don't know, Jesse Waters. Well, maybe not even the talk show guys. I would say Brett Baer, but Brett Baer even does that too, does the progressive thing. Fox News's debate last time around was awful. I don't know. But whatever the case, it's I don't know, such a weird thing. Sometimes I get distracted here with some of the arguments in the comment section about not what we're talking about here. Where is it? Can I find them? Oh, geez, wild. Some of you all are wild. But the other thing that I want to touch on the debate, and mostly because we touched on this a lot yesterday, is this. I'm going to play this long clip of Nikki Haley. There are going to be people that are upset about this. There are people already that disagree with the sentiment, and that's fine. There's several prominent conservative talk show hosts talking about abortion and how Republicans stop losing and what they should do. But I don't agree with entirely Nikki Haley and how she says this, but I understand why she's saying it like this. I want you to watch this and recognize, too, that Democrats currently are undefeated in the post-Roe versus Wade abortion on the ballot election. And that being said, we are now also by proxy sacrificing all of the other policies because Democrats are so popular on this issue. Watch Nikki Haley talk about how Republicans should handle it, and we'll briefly discuss. We don't want to spend a ton of time on this like we did yesterday. Watch this.
I've said it before. I think you have to be honest with the American people. This is a personal issue for every woman and every man. I am unapologetically pro-life, not because the Republican Party tells me to be, but because my husband Michael was adopted and I had trouble having both of my children. So I'm surrounded by blessings. Having said that, when you look post-Roe, a wrong was made right. They took it out of the hands of unelected justices and they put it in the hands of the people. And now we're seeing states vote. And what I'll tell you is, as much as I'm pro-life, I don't judge anyone for being pro-choice, and I don't want them to judge me for being pro-life. So when we're looking at this, there are some states that are going more on the pro-life side. I welcome that. There's some states that are going more on the pro-choice side. I wish that wasn't the case, but the people decided. But when it comes to the federal law, which is what's being debated here, be honest, it's going to take 60 Senate votes, a majority of the House, and a president to sign it. So no, we haven't had 60 Senate votes in over 100 years. We might have 45 pro-life senators. So no Republican president can ban abortions any more than a Democrat president can ban these state laws. So let's find consensus. Let's agree on how we can ban late-term abortions. Let's make sure we encourage adoptions and good quality adoptions. Let's make sure we make contraception accessible. Let's make sure that none of these state laws put a woman in jail or give her the death penalty for getting an abortion.
So, oops, make sure I don't get too far into there. Yeah, it's tough when you start talking about the consensus stuff, which is where I probably, if I were Nikki Haley, would not go. But I also understand why she was saying that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, I think her overall sentiment is right. It has been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt, I think, that Democrats are going to win elections based on this issue and this issue alone. So that being said, the job of Republicans probably is to I'm not even saying not take a hardline stance, but to not be so fervently outspoken. I don't even want to say that either. Republicans can't let Democrats dictate that this will be the only issue that people will be voting on, because Republicans will lose. And there are a lot of other issues at stake. And so if Republicans continually lose specifically and solely and only on this particular issue, we all lose on all of the other policies that Democrats will push. So that being the case, knowing that Democrats will win on this sort of thing, I think Nikki Haley would agree, and I think there's a lot of people out there who are looking to win elections would agree, make it a moral issue as opposed to, not even as opposed to, but in addition to making the legalistic argument, make the moral argument. And have that somewhat supplant and maybe replace the legalistic side. Because if something is legal, but society has so shunned it that nobody does it, I'm more for that than just losing on the sake of, I don't know, for standing your ground. Standing your ground and losing, I understand the point being made, but at the end of the day, you still lost. And you don't get to make policy, and you don't get to make decisions, and you don't get to legislate, and you don't get to govern if you lose. I don't know. This is going to be a topic for a while that is going to be an interesting thing that Republicans have to wrestle with. So at the end of the day, again, you're talking to an as pro-life person as it gets, but I also recognize the rationale that we're having to do. And that doesn't mean you let off the brakes on trying to convince people in other ways rather than just legislatively. But the thing I did want to play after this is Rachel Maddow. So this is a perfect example of Republicans doing a bad job at pitching this idea. Watch this very, very short clip. Check it out.
15-week national limit. He has stopped saying ban. Now he says limit, but that's the only adaptation that we have seen.
Okay, so the big long thing there that she's been talking about for a while is there's a 15-week ban, 15-week ban, 15-week ban. Now they're saying limit, which I think is a good thing. I think that's a good verbal/rhetorical change that Republicans should make. 15-week limit. That being said, Rachel Maddow's like, it's still a ban. Okay, but most Americans agree with that. That's, I think, the big thing. When you talk about abortion and you talk about the limits, we talked about this yesterday. We don't need to beat it to death. The overwhelming majority of Americans agree to a 12-week limit or 12-week ban after 12 weeks. 15 is more progressive and more liberal than the majority of Americans, Republicans, Democrats, Independents, agree with. So what it comes down to is Republicans getting better at the messaging about it. There is a consensus there, but Democrats have pushed it so far to one side and will continue to run on hypercharged political words like banned and bans off our bodies and all that sort of crap, that it comes down to, one, as much as you are, it comes down to realizing that there are other issues on the table, and two, messaging better. It just has to happen. Republicans are bad at it, and they have been for a very long time. That is, I can make the argument that's the sole reason why I'm in this business. I was if you don't know this, I was a consultant for a long time, running races, getting people elected in various cases, and I don't know. I don't need to get into that. Saw an opening, wanted to help with the whole messaging component that Republicans are so bad at, but Jody said, "Is Mad Cow still on the air?" Yeah, she is. They is. I don't want to assume. On to other news or other fare outside of the debate. This is fascinating. Smartest guy Joe knows. You heard about this story? Yesterday, the House Oversight Committee subpoenaed Hunter Biden as well as a grip of other Biden family members. This is from The Hill. Hunter Biden and his uncle James Biden have been subpoenaed Wednesday by the House Oversight Committee, which took remarkable steps to seeking depositions from family members of President Biden amid its impeachment inquiry. As a part of the request, the committee asked for James Biden's wife, Sarah Biden, as well as Hunter Biden's wife, Melissa Cohen, to sit for transcribed interviews. The panel also asked for interviews with Haley Biden, the widow of Beau Biden, and her sister, Elizabeth Secundi. Never heard of her. So that's it. So they're not going to sit. They're not going to sit on the firing squad. Is a bad analogy for right now, but the firing squad of questions by Congress. They're not going to sit for that. It's going to be a transcribed thing. But I did think it was interesting. I don't know what transcribed means. To sit for transcribed interviews. Does that mean that they get to sit there with their lawyers and word it exactly how they want it to be? And if that's the case, I'm not super excited about it, even though it is a little bit exciting. Or is it... Are they going to be basically just be in a room and be recorded, and that recording is going to be transcribed? Because that would be interesting. That would be very interesting if Hunter and James Biden got deposed in a way that they were having to rest on their ability to speak extemporaneously. So it'll be interesting. One of the not funnier, but interesting clips is when KJP found out about it while on the press briefing room podium. Watch this. KJP being asked, "Hey, Hunter Biden just got subpoenaed by the Oversight Committee. Anything you want to say about that?" She says no. Check it out.
The House Oversight Committee has issued subpoenas for Hunter Biden, James Biden, and Biden family business associate Rob Walker. Do you have a comment on that?
So look, as you just mentioned, it's just breaking, so I don't have this information in front of me. I'm just hearing from you. Certainly, I would refer you to any of the personal representatives on this, on your question. But I will have to say something that I've said many times. This is an investigation that has been going on for a year now and has turned up zero evidence of wrongdoing by the president because there is none. But Republicans continue to double down on a baseless smear campaign against the president and his family.
I love it. No evidence, despite having all of the evidence. I love that. Why didn't Republicans do that? No evidence of Russian collusion. No evidence of Russian collusion, because there actually was no evidence of Russian collusion. Why are we so bad at coming up with succinct, short phrases that everybody can utter? I don't know. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe the type of person that ends up being a conservative / Republican is not the type of person that can be grouped into a room full of people and all told to spout the talking points. Maybe that's our biggest issue. The people whose brains work in such a way that they would identify with liberal policies and Democrat party affiliation are the same type of people that will 100% repeat the line, say what we need to say. And the type of people that want freedom are good for the country from a policy standpoint, but bad for messaging because they can't get together and decide on how to say things. But I love that. The media and KJP constantly saying, well, there's no evidence, which is laughable, I guess, if you think about it. Like, despite all of the flipping evidence, what do you mean there's no evidence? But anyways, the baseless claims, again, despite all the evidence, we don't need to get into the evidence right now. Let's see. Here we go. This is not, hold on. Actually, there were some comments that I came across that were kind of funny. I thought this comment was really interesting. Karen, supposedly Hunter slept with both sisters. Really? Is that true? I don't know. Somebody in the comment section, let me know if that's true. So Hunter, this is not funny. This is terrible. It's not funny. It's terrible. So Hunter's brother dies, and then Hunter gets with the widow and also her sister. Is that true? Somebody look that up. Let me know if it's true. But in the meantime, I'll move on. Let's see. Any more in here that are like interesting? Not, I'm scrolling through. Yes, he did, says Jody. It's confirmed. Confirmed on the comment section that Hunter did. I don't know. Not that I don't trust all of your in-depth research. Everyone here who's saying, pretty sure that's true. Hope it's true. Hope it's not true. There we go. But I don't know. Moving on to worse things. Yesterday, this is not good. Yesterday, Gal Gadot, you know who she is? She is Wonder Woman. If you know of the Marvel series or really any TV movies, my wife loved the Wonder Woman movie, the first one. I don't know if she's watched any more of them, but she said it was really cool, which I haven't seen it, but I can't imagine that it's not cool. Gal Gadot, though, Hollywood super mega superstar, also Israeli, served in the Israeli military, as is the obligation of all Israeli citizens. But obviously now in Hollywood, in the hyper leftist bubble of Hollywood. But Gal Gadot, we haven't talked about this, but over the last, month? Geez, it's been over a month now since those October 7th attacks. Gal Gadot has turned her Instagram page into a nonstop megaphone for hostages and the whole war on Israel and between Israel and Palestine / Hamas. How many followers does she have? She's got a ton. And I'm not giving her flack for doing that. I'm just saying that's what she has done. 100 million Instagram followers. But her entire thing is bring them home. No hostages left behind. Dear President Biden. So she is full blown with standing with Israel. It's all over her Instagram page. And again, more power to her for doing that. But she was involved in a screening of a movie kind of detailing Hamas and how they operate and why they're so evil and terrible at the Museum of Tolerance last night in Los Angeles. What happened outside, unfortunately, is all too predictable. I want you to watch this. People fighting in the streets, just chaos, everything devolving into chaos. I don't know. Jewish people and Israeli supporters and quote unquote free Palestine, or in other words, eliminate Israel people, just brawling in the streets. Now, I don't need to watch more of this. I don't know what we do about this. I hate the fact that I think I watched that, and I think a lot of you watch that and go, "Oh, yeah, that's how you handle disputes nowadays." But we are in a crazy. Oh, geez, I don't know if I want to get into this. All right, somebody finally said, I think it was a Democrat congressperson. I forget who it was, but I think went on the Sunday talk shows and was talking about stop the Israeli genocide on the Gazan people. And he said a thing that I've been thinking, but just haven't really, I don't know. Not that I didn't want to say it. I was just like, I feel like this is obvious, but nobody else is saying it. So I feel weird saying it. But somebody finally on the talk shows said, look, it sounds super grim, but if Israel wanted to commit a genocide, they could. They have the military power, they have the weaponry. They could make Gaza a parking lot if they wanted to. So the people that are so ardently saying, stop the genocide, most people on the Israeli side and most people who understand this would go, what are you talking about? If they wanted to delete the entire region and all of the people in it, they could. And the fact that they are not would tell you that they are not interested in committing a genocide. Maybe they have another motive. Maybe their motive is remaining alive. And in order to do that, you have to eliminate Hamas. But that guy said that on there, which I don't know, kind of feels like it's okay. So now we can say that. Not that there's anybody tongue-tied here, but I don't know. There's things that I'm like, I don't know if I want to talk about. Another thing that I guess I don't want to talk about that leads into this is yesterday. And I do not condone any of this behavior. There's video out there. I'm not going to show you the video. There's photos out there. I'm not going to show you the photos, but you can find it if you want. A 77-year-old American Argentinian? Was it Argentina? In one of your South American countries, one of your South American or Central American countries, there's a group of climate activists protesting in the middle of the street because apparently climate activists just do that. And up until now, people have just put up with it. They've yelled and screamed and they tried to drag him off the street. I do not condone this in any way, shape, or form. But yesterday, an older attorney and law professor got out of his car because people were blocking the road and he shot two of them. That's not how you handle situations. That is not the way that you should handle that. But the point I think I'm trying to make is the people that are provoking the chaos are not ultimately the ones who can end the chaos. Make sure I say that carefully. Again, I'm not condoning violence in any way, shape, or form, but I think the people out there that are participating in the lawlessness of the society that we've allowed to happen ultimately need to remember that they are advocating for a side that cannot stop chaos. And I really want to tread carefully here because I'm not advocating for more violence in the street. But at the same time, if you continue to allow chaos to persist, the very thing that you claim to be fighting against will crack down, and it will crack down hard. I think what I really am ultimately saying is, if and when a greater schism happens, I'm very glad that I'm on the side of the people with all the weaponry. And I think more people, especially the people that choose to commit chaos and commit violence because of their political beliefs, realize that and remember that. But yeah, a lot of comments in the comment section today. It's going to get worse. Going to get better before it gets worse. Yeah, a lot of people saying that. Wow. Yeah, I didn't know where that. I didn't realize. I don't know. I have such a scattered brain when we're doing about this. I was just going to kind of highlight what's going on there. Instead, we talked about the dude who shot 2 people in Argentina for blocking the road. I don't know. I don't know how my brain works. But yeah, this. All right, Ryan. LOL. It will be a short revolution, that's for sure. That's what a great succinct way of putting it. I'm trying over here trying to tiptoe around. Like, all right, I don't want to say that, but a short. I like that. A short revolution. Jeff says, Jobob, 2 days of heavy subjects. Yeah, I get. I wasn't planning on it. This wasn't like the plan. I don't know. Maybe tomorrow we'll play a bunch more trans dudes claiming that they're PMSing at Disneyland and get back to the funny. I am a comedian, by the way. We got a couple comedy shows coming up, but I guess we'll yeah, we'll cut it there, and we'll save the rest for tomorrow. By the rest, I mean the one other clip of maybe the girl at USC taking down flyers. If you haven't already, give me a follow on any of your social media networks. Just type in JOBOB. You'll be able to find me pretty much anywhere. As soon as we wrap up this show, I'm going to make a hilarious cardboard sign with fascism and the definition of fascism, and go to UCLA and protest with the protesters before speaking with Charlie Kirk later that evening. This is fun because there's nobody who's going to be protesting this is watching this right now. But Charlie goes and sits at a table on the campus, and people come up to the table. They try to argue with them. They usually get hilariously, rhetorically slammed. But I go out there and I mill around in the audience. And today, one of the security guys said, "Hey, you should make context." Last time he was doing this, and I was at one of these events, one of the girls said, screaming, "F off fascists!" And then we asked her, "Hey, what's a fascist?" She says, "I have no idea what a fascist is." So one of the security guys was like, "Hey, you should get a sign and just write the definition of a fascist and stand out there with the protesters and yell at Charlie while he's at the table." I was like, that's a hilarious idea. So I'm going to go do that. And then later on this evening in the Ackerman Ballroom, I believe, Charlie's giving a speech, and then I'll be opening up for him, kind of doing my little smart ass routine. So if you're in the area, we will be at UCLA this evening, next Wednesday, November 15th. I will be in Amarillo, Texas, giving a speech to the Turning Point chapter there. Friday, November 17th, I'll be in Twin Falls, Idaho. Tickets are selling out fast. I think there's only balcony seats left. I think there's a couple like VIP meet and greet seats at the Orpheum Theater in Twin Falls. And Blackfoot, Idaho, the next day, November 18th, Saturday. Quite a few tickets left there, so don't worry about that one. But you should still buy them. But yeah, we'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. I'll let you know how the stuff with Charlie goes today at UCLA. We'll see how fiery those students are there. And by students, I mean paid agitators by the Soros Fund. We'll see you there. See you tomorrow. Sorry, not see you there. See you there if you're coming. But also, if you're not, see you tomorrow. God bless America.